Whoa, what's up guys? What's going on? So I'm sitting here in front of a grafted loquat tree here on my farm, and I wanted to talk to you guys about loquats for a second. And loquats, oftenly confused with kumquat, which is a citrus. Loquats are actually in the rose family. I believe they're native to Southeast Asia. They're not native here in Florida, but they have kind of naturalized around the state. So from being planted, from animals eating seedlings, spreading those seeds, you know, we have seedlings in the wild areas along the sides of the roads and stuff, but most of these grafted varieties have been selected for multiple attributes. So larger fruit, typically speaking. This one has no fuzz on the outside of it. Little pro tip, if you do get a fuzzy one, you can kind of just wipe it on your shirt and get that fuzz to come off. Some have orange flesh, some have white flesh, some have smaller seeds. So, you know, we've selected these varieties, and not I, when I say we, but people have selected these varieties and named them. So we grow Christmas, Champagne, Oliver, Yehuda, Ed's Delight, Premier, Bradenton, Novak, Wolf, like the list goes on and on and on. There's a lot of grafted varieties available now. And something I want to say, I don't do plant sales really anymore. I used to do plant sales when we were first kind of getting going. The only plant sale I do anymore is the Florida Loquat Festival. That's why I wanted to make you guys this little video. So March 23rd from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in downtown Newport Richey, we will be at the Florida Loquat Festival. I'll have fruits, I'll have trees available, probably about 150 trees on hand, everything from a 3-gallon to a 75 or a 7-gallon tree, kind of rolling in the $45 range to $75 range available at that time. There'll also be preserves, there'll be jams available, you name it. It's a strictly loquat festival, so that's probably the coolest part about it. Be some educational little aspects. I'm actually giving a little class or talk about loquats, about how they fit into an edible landscape. So I highly suggest this one for the landscape. And it's kind of a tough one because, you know, last year we probably maybe 4 of my trees fruited. So the flowers of the loquat tree can actually get damaged below 28 degrees. So, you know, that's a real bummer when we have a really hard winter like we did last year and we didn't even get loquats. So down in Miami, they have a fruit fly problem. So with that fruit fly, it attacks the fruit. You almost have to bag the fruit to get it. So there's like a happy medium here for growing loquats. I feel like this Tampa range, kind of maybe down to Fort Myers, is fairly prime. You know, you start getting too far north, sometimes you won't get loquats, but I will tell you is my friends in the Gainesville area, my friends in the North Florida area, because of the mild winter, they're having loquats this year also. So we really like to keep these trees pruned. Typically I do my pruning right after they're done fruiting, so I like to keep the fruit very accessible. So, you know, I will actually harvest and prune sometimes at the same time if the tree is ripening evenly. Otherwise I will just come, you know, and I'll pick off the fruits when they're ready. These are definitely a little bit too yellow, but right over here, and you can see the difference in the varieties from tree to tree. This one is a, let's check it out, Champagne, which is a very sought after variety. And I know for a fact this one's a Bradenton. Look how much more orange Bradenton is. So let's take him over there to Champagne and show you the difference. This one's much closer to being ready. And obviously you can see there's a pretty big difference there in the color. So this is a very sought after variety also. Bradenton right there in the understory is stretching a little bit. It's not as full or, you know, as large a tree as this. So some of my trees out in full sun are really big. So the trick with the loquats is just getting them in a happy spot in the landscape. Like I said, they've naturalized here, so they do pretty well in Florida to begin with, but pruning them will actually promote more fruit growth. I've heard some people even trying to thin them. So as those clusters of fruit are coming up, just like you would a cluster of grapes or something, you know, that's how they come out when they fruit. You would pick off those small fruits and let it put that energy into the other ones to make larger fruit. So that's something kind of neat to play with there on the loquats also. More loquats. So as you can see, these ones are almost as big as my hand. They're huge. This is the Wolf variety. And then I have a larger Novak variety over here, which are really big. Whoa, look at the size of this cluster. What? So, loquat trees. So something I'll point out about the loquats, these are stunners in the landscape. This is what I would call a dooryard tree. This is a tree that does really well in your front yard. It's evergreen, so it's never gonna drop its leaves. It's very aesthetically pleasing, nice looking tree in the landscape. They look really, really nice in the front yard. I've even seen the casino here in Tampa plant these trees for ornamental value in front of the casino, you know, just as for looks. Nobody's even eaten the fruit. So if you don't eat the fruit on these trees, they actually just rot right onto the tree. Very rare you see them on the ground. They'll kind of rot right in place. That's why I said I'll prune and harvest at the same time, because when that fruit does rot back on the tree, to me it tends to slow them down a little bit. So by pruning the tree, I notice I'm getting a lot more growth. I'm getting more shape to the tree, and they're coming together nicely. So look at the size of this one. What? Huge. So loquats, like I mentioned, awesome evergreen trees in the landscape. These are stunners for the front yard. And the fact that they're evergreen, they look good all year long, highly suggest planting one if you live in a zone where you can, and they'll do well there. And like I had mentioned about that fruiting, just making sure you're in an area where, you know, all right, you might be able to grow these trees in North Florida, but if we get that brutal winter, you might not get that fruit set. So just know that when you plant the tree. That would probably be the only downfall. And like I said, down in Miami, they have a little bit of a fruit fly problem, but other than that, they're still pretty trees in the landscape. So hope you all enjoyed this quick video. Don't forget, Florida Loquat Festival, March 23rd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Francis Park. I'll put a link in the description of this video so y'all can find it. Please come out, say what's up. Tell me you saw this video, and I'll drop you a free hat. So I'm gonna bring a box of hats to share with the YouTube family. So don't forget, if you come on out, holler at me. Hope to see you guys there. Like, subscribe, share, grow loquats, pound dirt.